Hey,
Hey, good morning.
right. Good day.
Good day. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. What about yourself?
I'm feeling quite good, actually. Today's been a good day to me so far.
That's good to hear.
Um, but yeah, why don't you try give this a shot? Come to q.gg and then just link it with your Discord account. And then just click the replay link below and let me know when you're in.
Alrighty. What time is it there?
It is currently 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah. I've got nothing else planned today, so I'm all yours.
I had a really bad week this week. I went on like quite a losing streak.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
I don't know, man. It was bad. I don't know if the meta shift was what was wrong or like this. What were those things that they just released for your main champions?
The Eternals.
The internals. So maybe everybody just jumped on their mains and it just changed to a different type of game. I don't know, but there was one game I was just like, man, do I even know how to play this game anymore?
Yeah,
All right, I'm
no, I get
in.
that.
Where did you want me to click after I got in here?
Yeah, I'll be able to see when you get in because you'll pop in the top right corner. Hopefully it works. It didn't work for one of my other students, which is really weird.
So I'm in QUGG and I've connected it with Discord. Is there
Okay.
something I need to click so you know I'm in here, or it just would automatically pop up?
There's if you go back to Discord, there's a link I sent, the one with replays, and you just click that.
Okay, I see that now. Cool.
Yeah. There we are. Lovely. So what this is, it's just the tool I use to do live replays. So can you see me draw this?
I sure can. Nice little
Lovely.
smile.
And you can draw as well. So if you want to highlight anything to me, feel free to as well. So yeah.
All right.
How we're going to do things today is VOD review, theory, live game. Sound good to you? Any adjustments?
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds good.
All right, let's crack on. So, let's start off by looking at your VOD replay. I can see that you really like Zara, and you also see this on there too.
Correct.
I personally dislike playing against Tariki, just because it's unbeatable late game, basically. So, honestly, the best thing is to dodge, even though, unless you're in promos, of course, but it's just really iffy to play against, if I'm honest. But yeah.
That's the first time I've ever played against He Tarek, even with all the
Oh,
hype about
really?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But yeah. Alright, let's talk about lane matchups first. So you've got Blitzcrank and Lucian versus Zyra and Varus. What do you understand about the different types of supports?
I mean, I feel like I understand it pretty well. It's like I understand like
Mm-hmm.
he counters us. Like they definitely
Yeah.
are the winning part of the lane.
Mm-hmm. So you've got kind of like a good grasp of what they want to do versus what you want to do. What I
Yes.
would call Blitzcrank would be a kind of like a all-in champ, basically. So he's looking for those opportune moments to hook you. Whereas what you play is a kind of mage support. So you're poke and trying to force the enemy out of lane. And so basically, or actually, why don't you tell me how you would play this lane if this was like a new game?
Well, if to me it's just staying behind the minions and like you said, just putting out the poke,
Mm-hmm.
force them out of lane,
Yep.
winning
Yep.
trades that way.
Yep.
I feel like
exactly.
I do pretty well against blitzcrank lanes. I just got to stay
Hmm.
behind my minions, stay behind my plants, and just keep the poke on. And
Yeah.
then if he actually gets a pull to do the retaliation trade on like Lucian and try to get him to back off of my ADC, or even if he pulls me, then try to put as much damage out before I die. Because if I don't have flash, usually if I get pulled, I'm dead at that point.
Yeah. Just because of the nature of Blitzcrank and how squishy you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you've analyzed it perfectly. What do you understand by the term win condition?
That's just like I feel like that's just finding out how you're gonna win the game and just like focusing on that. Like
Hmm.
I don't know really know how to explain it. Like sometimes like I feel like I'm laned with somebody that is an ADC that's been filled as ADC, and like there was
Hmm.
one game where I had a cat mid that was just seemed like she was good, so I roamed mid a lot that game, and I felt like that was my win condition. It was getting that cat fed in order to kind of carry the game. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah. No. So win conditions are malleable. Like they change all the time. If someone is far ahead, then they become the win condition. At the moment, within your team, just by looking at the champions, who would you say would be the one to do the most things during late game?
Probably be Jax. Maybe the Malzahar. I guess Varus is kind of a late game.
Yeah, so I would say Varus is your late game carry.
Okay.
Jax will be early, and then the rest, these two scale pretty well. So it's up to them for how well they perform. And you are also super scary late game because you can one shot ADCs. Um, but yeah, so that's just talking about matchups as well and how you would play the subsequent game. In terms of runes, what's your thought process behind these?
So this is basically just like the standard Zyra runes that
Yeah,
kind of go against just about everybody. I've
right.
I've played around with other ones, and these just seem to be like my best runes that seem to just go with just about everything.
Okay.
Like the Comet procs off of plants, and it procs off of Scorch, which procs off of plants. Um,
Hmm.
I usually don't take much damage, so the 70%, the absolute focus works pretty well for that reason.
Right.
Taste of Blood kind of gives me a little lane sustain,
Hmm.
and the Relentless Hunter kind of helps me roam. It gives me that, since I go sorcerer boots, it gives me kind of that movement speed I need to get around.
Charging battery.
Yeah. Okay.
I've thought about
And the
like
last one.
trading Taste of Blood for like the Poro ward every now and then to kind of get
Hmm.
that vision, and even trading it out for the impaired movement when whatever that one's called to
Hmm.
do extra damage. That
Yeah,
one's
yeah, yeah.
like if I need a little more burst in that way.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So, have you played around with the blue one on the third row? So trading out absolute focus for transcendence. So
That's
this one.
the cooldown.
Yeah. When you get level 10, I think you
Yeah,
get 10 CDR.
I thought about that. I just don't focus cooldown reduction, so it just gives me the 10%, and that just seems like it's
Right.
useless if I'm not like going for like the higher like 40% of the cooldown reduction.
Um, I'm I'm gonna have to put in a contrasting opinion.
All right.
CDR is pretty paramount when it comes to late game. So like you said, you don't take that much damage. So I could see where you're coming from when you want this extra damage. At the same time, as you move up, people become more prone towards like team fighting and group fighting. I feel like in those situations, you can get more plants, you can get more spells down. So maybe have a play around with that as well
All
and
right.
see if you
You
enjoy
see,
that a
it's
bit
it's
more.
viable even just leaving it at the 10%.
Yeah, because because you will naturally build support items with CDR. Wait, do you as Zyra? You get Haunting Guys, you get Rylai's. Actually, you don't get that much CDR.
Most of the Zyra builds don't really run.
That's actually that is actually pretty bizarre. Okay, maybe Zyra's maybe she's a bit of an exception. I'll have a look into that. Like if you're going genres, then maybe.
Correct. Which would go against like even against the I guess that would work.
Mm-hmm.
If I did that, would you also go on the whatever those are called, where you get the offensive flex and the defense, and would you go the cooldown on that one too to give you the full 20% at?
No, I think that's less useful because, like you said, if you're burst, then it's fine going full adaptive force. But what I want to just illustrate with this is like you've already demonstrated to me that you're actively thinking about your different sort of runes, which is already much better than a lot of other players. So I know you mentioned this is the standard one. Are there alternatives that you go?
There's the electric
charge complete.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to like I've been playing. I used to go straight electrocute. I enjoyed the burst. I was really addicted to the burst. Yep. But I felt like it made me too aggressive in lane, and I would die too much.
Right.
So I've pulled back off of that and mostly just go Arcane Comet. So it's just the poke, and I stay back and poke instead of trying to proc and electrocute all the time. But I feel like electrocute's good against like healing comps, ones that we just need to kind of like burst down and before they can heal it all back. And, and there's the glacial that I've recently been like if my team needs engage. I've been thinking about going glacial in that way to kind of slow and then ult.
Yeah.
Kind of engage for my team that way.
Gotcha.
Because I've tried to play tank and engagers like Leona, Nautilus, and I don't know. I just don't know if I don't vibe well with them, or I just don't seem to have enough games with them or something. It just
I see. Well. No worries.
In that sense, I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of get Zyra to work in most games. So changing the runes and changing the style of play is.
I still think that she's a bit more of a situational pick. Like, if you're first picking her, there's a high chance that they could pick, for example, like a Nautilus to just absolutely mess up your day.
Correct.
Yeah. But let's jump into the game. We spent a good chunk of time on the champion select.
Cool.
Cool. I didn't know face check was a thing. That's pretty cool.
It's alright. I moved to the Poro professor. I've been having trouble with face check to where like it says I'm the first time Zyra, and I've obviously played 1,000 games of Zyra. So it's like,
right.
Something wrong here.
Yeah.
But the Poro professor is a lot better. It gives you a lot more information.
Does it?
Oh, for sure.
I might check it out.
Last season's rank. It tells you their win-loss rank. It tells you if their main was banned or if they're in a different lane. It has a bunch of information.
Ooh, yeah, I might have to dig into that. Let's start off by talking about builds for support items. So you can either go Spell Thieves, which obviously you go for Zyra. Have you tried experimenting with Relic by any chance?
I have.
Yeah.
The trouble I have with Relic is actually getting the farm. I don't know if I wasn't used to it or what, but it seems to be slower in the collection of gold than the Spell Thieves, because the plants like proc the Spell Thieves. I can usually stack it up pretty quick.
Okay. So I really like relics in terms of survivability, especially when you're against a Blitzcrank who can ruin your day.
Yeah.
So that might be an option for you to explore as well. Within laning phase, the first thing you always want to do is secure level 2. Reason for that? It's 2 abilities are better than 1. So hitting minions right here is perfect. And one thing you have to be cautious of is that Blitz level 2 can flash EU and then hook. So whenever you want to maintain a distance of about like this far away from him, basically. And have you heard of the concept of parallel lines before?
I have. I've watched whatever video that was.
It was Core JJ's, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It was quite nifty, if I'm honest. Yeah.
I guess I don't really like think. I try to think about that a lot and try to keep that parallel line. The problem is that ADC doesn't as much understand that. If I'm not dueling, it kind of scares me to keep some of the parallel lines.
Yeah, and that's honestly fine. It's not a how to say it. It's not a have to do every single moment of the game. It's basically when you're just trying to match the pressure that the opposite support is giving out. Yeah. And you know that Zyra's plants also block blitz hooks as well, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting them off in time to like actually block. At least standing behind them helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So it just kind of like denies blitz to fuck up. So what I would do in this situation is always like save 1 plant in your inventory, and say blitz tries to walk up to hook you guys. You could put a plant like about here, pop it up, and just keep in this kind of cone of vision to prevent blitz from hooking any of you two.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's just one of the ways you can try counter his engage. Let's look at one of the engages. So, for example, here. Anytime now.
He seems
I must have. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Right. So, what went wrong there? Or what do you think went wrong here?
Man, I feel like I played that one wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Especially throwing out my E right there was wrong. I didn't have any plants up. We had our minions are very thin, and we probably should have not been so close. Like that's a big thing with blitz is having the minion advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I could have maybe sidestepped that. I really don't know. How do you feel about that?
So I feel like what you should try to do. Well, I kind of said it earlier, but keep a plant and keep a Q in your inventory just to prevent that. Yeah. The follow up here is what's actually interesting. So I just wanted to highlight this part out. Perfect route from you. And if you dropped Ignite, he'd be dead as well.
Correct.
So, for example, when a jungle comes to gank your lane, I don't want to watch that. That is unfortunate by your by your Varus. No. You played this one perfectly. It's the next one I wanted to look at. So this the route was perfectly fine. It's just drop your Ignite to help secure the kill, especially when you know the ADC still has heal.
Yes.
And I'm sure you already know that Ignite reduces all healing. So yeah, that would have been a kill.
Could have definitely stepped up, and I think I was afraid of that blitz pool, so I was trying to stay.
No. You were perfectly justified in maintaining that radius around the tower. Your Varus just got greedy.
Yes.
Coming to this though, you want to ping your jungler to help push this out for you. Because at the moment, what the wave is doing, there's more minions here than here. So invariably, the minions will push to their side, and they can set up a freeze to deny your Varus all kinds of CS.
All right.
So what you should do in this situation is request your jungle to help you push to reset the wave. How are you with wave management, by the way? I know us supports can't really influence that much, but we can help it in subtle ways.
Correct. I feel like I do okay with that. I've watched some videos and tried to understand it. I feel like I don't understand everything about it, but like right here, I would definitely help to push the lane, especially once Ferris gets here and he can get some kills on the minions and some XP.
Yeah.
Help push the lane to the tower and help try to reset it.
Yeah. And you know the concepts of like how to break a freeze or how to transition from a slow push into a fast push.
A little bit. It's still kind of vague to me, or like.
All right, no worries.
Sit here and explain it to you at least, or I don't do it on purpose, I guess.
All right, no worries. We can maybe focus on one of that for one of our future lessons.
Cool.
Here's a secret about support. We always greed for the cannon, especially when you're a tank support. You can abuse it. He will most definitely come up to get the cannon, and you can use that opportunity to EQ W, and then Varus can finish him off.
That's a good idea.
So, yeah. So with a cannon minion, people will literally step out of their way to go get it. So I just want you to keep that in mind the next time you see someone go for a cannon minion. Try to abuse their willingness to step out of line, basically.
Yeah, especially those tanks like Leona and Nautilus and Blitzcrank. I get that.
Most definitely. Yeah. Cool. One quick note. Say you have a map of Summoner's Rift, and you're pathing from base. Most supports take this route to lane, which is fine, but it's not the most optimum one that you can do. What the best path is to just go through here and then sneak around like that. The reason for this is that you can react to scenarios quicker, basically. Say you spot a fight going on in the mid lane, you can come up way quicker than if you had to go from down all the way up back like that.
Yeah.
So that's just jungle pathing. Just a small quick tip that you can keep in mind next time.
I like that. Like the red side there, I have trouble with pathing, but I like that where you can go up mid and help.
Yeah.
I know warding here with a pink ward is a big thing.
Yeah.
And if I'm coming from the blue side, I usually run up this way to help ward here. And
Right.
put a ward here to kind of cover all the entrances. But I've never thought about that on the red side. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Warding's also another one of the things I wanted to cover. But yeah.
So but I like that on the blue side, or the red side, I guess is what we're on right now.
Yeah.
Because I usually run up through if I want to get to that mid lane to help gank. I usually run up through mid and then run bot, but that seems to be a little wasteful in time.
Yeah. It depends on if you know that your jungler is looking for a gank around mid lane. Then you can maybe double hit make a double whammy around the mid lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, that's especially with Zyra and her CC, that helps out a hell of a lot.
Yeah. It's insane. Okay, let's talk about preparing a minion wave. What are you doing? What do you do?
What do you mean, like right here?
Yeah, so say Varus wants to farm, yeah. Which minions would you hit?
Oh, that one that the tower's on is dead.
Yeah, that one's gone.
These are all range minions, so I would hit the full health one time. I feel like that's the only one I would really auto attack here.
What about this one and this one?
That's true. To help get them, so because the tower's gonna kill them if they one-shot them, huh?
Yep.
That's true.
So it takes this. This is obviously a skill that takes practice, but basically, it seems very intuitive. But the tower will hit the closest one. So in preferential order, it'll probably go for this one, then maybe this one, then this one, then this one. So prioritize your attacks to hit this one once, then try to sneak in about like 2 attacks on that one, and then one on that.
Okay. I didn't know that's how. I was wondering how it actually like focused and shows what minions.
Just the closest.
I didn't know that.
But
It
yeah.
focuses the cannon minion if it's around, and then it just does
Yes.
whichever one's closest after that.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is just one of the tools you have as support that can help impact what the ADC has in terms of resources for late game. Helps boost his creep score and helps you win games because he's more fed than the enemy. So that's one of the things I feel like are good to practice, and you only get better with time.
Thank you. And I agree that I have trouble with those on the helping him get those kills.
Yeah. Ooh.
It was.
Yeah, that is rather unfortunate.
I probably could award it there.
I don't know actually. So I think so. You survive with a sliver of health. Oh my god. Always assume the enemy is present until otherwise proven. Basically, what you want to try do is account for enemy threats. So the biggest threat on their team was Blitzcrank, because you know Yi's probably going to gank top quite a lot because they're Yi Tarek strat.
Yes.
So you should always just assume Blitzcrank's nearby. And I'm sure your Zyra experience has taught you that you can use your abilities to pop up vision.
And it's a longer range than wards, so
Yeah.
it helps out a lot.
So, yeah. Backing here was extremely dangerous because if you just kind of like ran at you, and then you would have been screwed. But
That's true.
yeah. Let's look at a team fight as well. So that's the next thing. So in terms of map currently, you've got jungle coming in from here to try Drake. Mid's missing, bot's missing. What's going through your head right now?
Right now I am trying to get the wards down for Dragon. Trying to set us up at least to counter them if they're trying to stay in the warded areas, to stay out of away from the Blitzcrank range to. Not sure if I drop a red into Dragon Pit or not, but I think my next point where I would ward would be like somewhere on this side of Dragon.
Wait, sorry, I didn't really see that.
On the
I was on the map.
Opposite of the wall, like on their side, somewhere over here, like there's the bush
Okay.
on the opposite of red, or put it next to the thing that knocks you over the wall, like right over Dragon Wall.
All right. Yep. So I would agree with all those things. One thing that I could improve on is that as Zyra, you have very heavy pick potential. So what might be better is being able to stand in a bush which you can secure vision with your control ward, and look for a pick, and then do Dragon.
That makes sense. Like sit in the bush where the control ward is right there.
Yeah, because I feel like taking Drake at this time is a bit of an unnecessary risk, especially with you not knowing where any of their team are.
I agree with that. I'm not sure how this turned out, but that does make a lot of sense. Because I have that trouble where we're doing this Dragon like this, and then they come from both sides, squeeze us out, or we end up in a really bad team fight.
Yeah.
especially with Zyra, because I don't like team fights that are split like that. I like them to be all grouped together because of the ult and everything.
Yeah, in the jungle, and then
Yeah.
you're like, yeah.
Those work out well. The
I
split
get that.
fights don't end very well usually.
Well, let's see how this one went.
Okay.
Your Varus is just AFK hitting the.
This kind of looks like a clusterfuck here.
No kidding. It's everywhere. Everything is happening everywhere.
Welcome to gold.
Alright, let's rewind. And let's start off from the beginning. So, Blitzcrank comes up, hooks the Varus. At this point, I feel like finishing the Drake would have been more important than doing the Blitzcrank, because he's just used hook.
Yes, I agree with that.
So that means
And they're
he's going to be
poisoned.
out. Yeah.
Like usually if I had a plant
And
here, I would have dropped a
yeah,
plant to keep dragon off of us. Keep it in position.
yeah. Another thing is your E should be used to stop people from coming up in a team fight, unless you can find a good pick.
Okay.
So I feel like when you're trying to stop, for example, a Yi trying to run down your an E towards him would be probably the best move you can do to just kind of like keep him there and focus down, like for example, a tank that's trying to engage on you, like Blitzcrank or Tarek. And mainly just appeal for your Varus as well, because he's the immobile ADC.
Mm-hmm.
Your ult here is one thing that I thought was absolutely brilliant, because that managed to keep the fight separate from Lucian, because he couldn't enter. So you guys could have like bursted down the Tark and the Blitzcrank basically. So that was perfect. What happens afterwards is that you guys spot Veigar and then you start moving towards the Lucian, which doesn't work out too well.
Not with everybody's low health.
Yeah.
Luckily I had flash there.
Yeah.
Not sure what I did right there. That was weird.
So, So the concept I wanted to identify with this is zoning. Being able to choose which targets you want out of the fight using your E and your R. Your R has the ability to just basically turn the tide of an entire fight by placing it in the right spot, and your E has the potential to pick out someone when you have the vision. So that's how you can use those abilities to their maximum potential.
Okay.
So, you see a ping going up here. Here's the map right now. You see they're doing Rift, and you're running to go help them. What's your thought process there?
Well, my thought process would be, I mean, I guess Graves is bot lane. I just felt like they really needed my help. Varus, we don't really have vision down bottom.
Yeah.
But he can shove the lane and back off. But I feel like going up here and helping with Rift, I feel like me being there would help at least to even out the fight. Especially with my ultimate up. I would be able to drop wards and help them with all that.
Yeah.
Not very good on bot lane, did he?
Yeah, the reason why I highlighted this is that as support, you're almost kind of like a babysitter. You have to assume that your ADC is just a baby that's going to crawl elsewhere. I'm sure you could probably relate to this as a dad as well.
For sure.
Yeah. You just have to keep watching after them. So I feel like the better move would have actually been to prioritize the bot lane over this Rift.
Okay.
because if you put your Varus even further behind, it's going to take him a while to get his items, to get his XP to help carry the game.
So going
but-
bot lane, helping just perhaps give up Rift here would have been.
Well, I don't know why Graves is bot either. Like, he shouldn't be bot. He should be here trying to help contest this with you guys.
Right.
Like, you guys get it in the end, which is good and all.
It's interesting. Maybe he was
Yeah.
confused of me being there, so he stayed bot side, or I don't know. He had a really bad game. The whole game, it was just rough.
Yeah. Alright. Pig potential. Why did I write this? They don't have vision in this ward, because you know Veigar checked it with E. So you're more than happy to sit in there and just wait for someone.
Instead of dropping that control word, you say?
Yeah. Yep. Thank God for Malzahar's spell shield. The next thing I want to focus on is usage of your sweeper. So you've done the best thing you can do, which is buy sweeper at level 9 when you have your support item as well. But what I see is that you never use it to clear out vision, basically. What time do you choose to use the sweeper, basically?
Usually I try to clear like 2 or 3 bushes with it.
I was more like why? Like when? Like, no, does that make sense?
Like when do I use it? Like I know using it like around objectives like Dragon and Baron, getting vision control, and those are obvious times to use it. I use it like if I'm going into a jungle to ward. I usually use it to it helps scout bushes because you can see people in bushes. And it helps make sure you're clear of vision.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So the best time is when you want to be denying enemies vision. So like you said, with the objective control, that's super important. The next best time is knowing when the enemy support has just walked through the same area as you, and you can just clear his fresh wards. Finding out when that happens, obviously, is a different question altogether, which takes basically a bit of experience and intuition as well. Or your wards that you've just placed as well. But yeah,
that makes sense.
I want you to try actively think of more times when you can use your sweeper in the back of your head to help deny the enemy vision. We'll go through it when we do your live game, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you managed to solo the Veigar. I'm not sure you had to flash here, but just support Zyra things, right?
Correct. I think I was afraid of his, I would have been hit by Q, and perhaps I was afraid of the ultimate following up there.
Yeah.
But you're probably right. I could have saved the flash to get away from that.
Yeah, but you guys make a really good push here, and go for turret, which is fine. The issue is when you guys take an objective and don't back off from it. The reason why I say this is because the time when you're most vulnerable is when you guys have just taken an objective and are basically trying to retreat. That's when they can chase you and just absolutely slaughter you. So the instant you see someone like doing this and then looking for another scuffle, like this Graves, just backping them like crazy. Assume they're absolute monkeys with no brain and just say, get out of here. Yeah. So, the thought process is you've taken an objective. There's nothing more you can do in this lane. There's literally nothing. So why risk your life to go on a bit further? Right?
Yeah, like where I was there. I was trying to help them get out, but let's
my ass. I'm not sure why Malzahar wanted to do Raptors there, but okay. Let's look at another team fight as well.
Alright.
So we've got one around top lane. You guys have caught up the Lucian, basically.
That was really bad altogether there. Crap.
It's okay, people whiff outs. Let's actually look at the things that actually led up to the fight. So you guys are coming back from base as well. And you guys are moving up to try catch the Lucian. When you're trying to catch someone, it's important that you make sure you're not the one caught out yourself. So, when you're chasing for someone, make sure to cover your ass with wards. So, for example, knowing that they're there and you're going for the Lucian, make sure you keep a thought in the back of your head that there's a potential that they could be coming from behind as well. So you saw how they came up from basically this way through river.
Yes.
When you guys were trying to catch someone that was going this way.
I should have been dropping the wards behind me as I was moving up.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And just being able to keep them, to make sure you don't overcommit to a chase, so you get picked off through this part.
Like that. What was that video? They call it octopus arms or something. You're walking.
Octopus arms?
Yeah, it was a video somebody made back in season 3. It's the LOL craft, a one-on-one or something, League craft one-on-one.
I wasn't even playing back then, so I couldn't tell you.
All those videos are still really good. It's interesting how they're still some of the best videos to watch on support and warding and everything.
Right.
That guy made some great videos.
Yeah.
He was talking about doing octopus arms. It's just basically you're just dropping wards as you're moving, so you can cover your ass, like you were saying.
Yeah. And also, out of curiosity, why is your 123 on QWER?
I use completely different key bindings. As you can see, is my abilities are in ASDF, so I moved my QWE is for my, and then ZXC is for the bottom part of the item.
How about that? That is quite interesting.
Wait,
so what's your flash key on?
Flash key
V and T.
Yes. So I was having trouble when I first started playing. Was finding like I kept putting my fingers on the wrong place, so I moved it all down to the home key, the F, so I could find my keys really easy.
I see. That is something completely different that I've never seen before. So it's quite novel.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It works, man.
Yeah, I mean, if it works for you, be a pioneer, be a trailblazer. Go for it.
If anybody sat down, they wouldn't understand what's going on. Whatever, play this game.
Yeah. Alright, so this, I feel like, is a very risky ward clear.
I agree.
You don't know where anyone is on the map. If a Blitzcrank came and just grabbed your ass, you'd be
And I'm out there by myself.
6 feet under. Yeah. So, what you could do better, use this. Clear the vision around this way to make sure you're not being sneaked up on, and then go for it.
Alright, so you say actually like walk in there, and I think I was afraid of going any further in. To put that down.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. You do see a turret coming towards you. I don't know, because I just felt like if you were like anywhere closer, a Blitzcrank could have flashed over the wall to grab you. Yeah. But I could be. It's just one of those things where the ward's actually risk than it's actually worth.
I agree.
So you don't have to clear it.
I guess just knowing it's there, I can ping it and
yeah.
Get there, huh?
Yeah, that's a happy medium. All right, let's look at this team fight. So first off, going solo by yourself is a very big no.
I agree.
And also, I think were you pinging for the dragon to pull out?
Yeah, people have a lot of trouble with pulling dragon out. I don't know why.
It is a frustration that I feel.
Okay, I'm not alone there.
Yeah, if you know that, that's the best that I can ask for.
Because if we had it pulled out there, we could probably have finished it off, and it would have been a different fight.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're getting collapsed like this
Mm-hmm.
and just getting divided into.
Terrible. That was just
Mm-hmm.
nasty.
Okay, so say this fight was happening all over again. What would you do differently right now?
I probably should have eat them there and ulted
Mm-hmm.
in order to keep
And
them
keep
off
them
the
out of the
dragon.
fight.
We definitely could have got the
Exactly.
dragon right there.
Exactly.
Wish I
Your
would have wanted.
tools are for zoning.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Probably should have wanted
And
that dot bush there too to see them all coming.
yeah.
That makes sense.
And yeah, there's nothing that much to learn from this fight except for the zoning basically. But other than that, that's just something you're going to take forward to the next game. And let's see what's going on here.
Not sure what that was.
No, it was just a bit of a kerfuffle all about was.
I don't guess I didn't have any abilities to drop for.
Yeah.
Just curious of why I wasn't helping them there.
Yeah, that was a really bizarre positioning from everyone. Let's see what's leading up to it. So you guys are moving towards Baron. You see them doing it. Ah, so it was the Jacks that jumped in 1v3. Yep, that's rather unfortunate. If you were just sitting in this bush like this would have been probably a prime time to look for a sweeper moment. So when you're walking up from say river, sweeping this bush and also the pixel brush as well would help you guys provide some like vision control over this area. So to make the Blitzcrank afraid to walk through.
Yeah, because I see that I have 3 wards, 2 control wards, and the
Yeah, and the sweeper.
Yeah, the sweeper.
Yeah. Okay. Okie doke. I'm not sure why you went towards this area around here.
I'm not sure either. I feel like I was becoming a little flustered at this point in the game.
Yeah. So you managed to dodge the Blitzcrank hook, which is fine. But staying here is even more dangerous.
Like, back up I deserved it.
And you burn flash for it. Do not die for warding. That's basically what I was trying to say here. Oh yeah, you managed to steal Baron, which I was very surprised about.
Right? This is like the most tilting part of the game right here.
Yeah.
Because we actually get a point to where we get a chance to win in great space.
Yeah, like this is the comeback. Right. Let's look at the team fight that happens after this. I felt that you guys definitely could have fought that though, because your members have just come fresh from the base and they're all pretty low. But I think your Varus gets pulled in, or am I? Yeah, no, I'm making that up. Cool. Let's look at the final team fight.
So after all that, we end up like pushing to that inhibitor. Did you see that part?
Mm-hmm.
And Graves backs
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, if you pulled off a miracle steal there, then
You gotta do
it would have been another thing.
right.
Yeah. Um, I'm not really sure if it was good to try go for it, because if you all died there, they just put it at the end. But if you guys survived, there could have been a chance that you guys could defend through all your turrets.
Yeah.
It's a thing that could have gone 50-50. But I'm personally a bit more of a risk adverse player. So I think it might have been better to just back off and let Graves try to steal it by himself.
Still,
Um,
that would leave me and Malza hard to defend for a second, huh? And they're not really
I feel like you guys have good wave clear enough that you can stop the minions from getting to the tower in the first place. But that's yeah, like I said, it was something that could have gone either way. But yeah.
I mean, I would have died either way if I stole it. I still would have died.
Yeah. Alright. Let's go over and summarize what you've learned from that little VOD review. So, for example, in terms of your abilities, what should you be doing?
Zoning and
Mhm.
picking.
Mm-hmm.
Vision
And
with the plants.
yeah, perfect.
I feel like
So, mhm.
that's a big thing this game. You mentioned a lot about vision.
Yeah, and there's good reason for it as well. I'm sure if you like did a study, well, I mean, I'm not sure people actually do studies on League. It'd be funny though. The biggest way for supports to probably impact the game is through map control with your wards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I've heard that a few times before, I think, in a lot of videos
Mm-hmm.
I've watched.
Yeah. So I've just given you two things or three things for to try do within the live game for you. So it's just these. But it's just something for you to try focus on and try and improve. Basically, I don't want to overwhelm you with like checklists of like multiple things to do. So we're just going to keep it short and simple.
Alright.
So you also mentioned to me that you also wanted to look at some macro game as well.
Yeah.
So let's pull out a map and we'll talk about some macro.
Alright. That seems to be a big part about winning games is having the better macro.
Mm-hmm. It's also being able to let your team know the right thing. Like it's honestly like herding sheep, getting your team to try an objective. Cool. Let's say we're on blue side. You guys are bot lane and you're ahead. You're looking to take you're bot lane, and say you guys are blue side. Junglers wanting to take dragon. What should you do?
We're on blue side,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the pinks are where we're positioned.
Crap. I can't. I have to command Z. Okay, wait. Yeah, so your blue side jungler's walking up saying he wants to ping Baron, so he's going to come here away from base. What should you start to look to do if you guys were, say, around here and the waves are crashing?
Oh man.
Or the waves are like equal in the middle.
Okay, that would be. I feel like we would try to help push the lane and to get them on their tower, so I can leave lane and help ward.
Exactly.
Help control dragon there.
You've heard of the term gaining priority, haven't you?
I think so, yes.
What do you understand by it?
I guess I've heard it. I don't really. You would probably have to explain that one. I don't know.
No, that. No, that's perfectly fine. So priority is being able to react to a situation first. So obviously, if you guys were here, and enemy was there, and there was a fight that broke out in Dragon Pit, you guys would get there first, and therefore you guys have priority.
Okay.
If there was a jungle fight up here, the enemy would probably have around the same time to react, so you guys have the same amount of priority to get up from that side, basically. However, if you were pushed up all the way to the tower and you were trying to like deep ward, you could coordinate with your jungle to basically gain dominance over their jungle. Because what the enemy then has to choose is, am I going to lose farm or am I going to try help my jungler? Both is a lose-lose situation for them if they don't manage to win the fight in the jungle. Yeah? Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So that's just priority for helping you secure Drakes. It can be the same for securing Baron as well. That's why when you watch any sort of competitive games, what they usually say is push out waves before you try to take objective. The reason after that is if you're, say, you're mid lane and you're around like, if your wave's already here and you're pushing for a tier 2, and you do Drake, you finish it, your waves are already in a prime position to straight up take the turret.
Mm-hmm. You go for that second tier.
Yeah, exactly. The other pretty prominent macro point I feel like is really good to abuse is being able to have a strong split pusher and then grouping as 4. What do you understand when someone split pushes?
I mean, like say we have a Trendamere on our team that's split pusher.
Yeah.
He's the best split pusher. And mainly we're trying to wave clear, keep pressure on our lane so they can they have to stay on our lane. Because if they usually send one to get a Trendamere, he can usually 1v1 or at least get out safely and wait to continue to split push. So, I mean, if we're just trying to gain like an advantage, like making a pick on them if they're trying to, we're just trying to keep pressure, I guess. I don't really know how to go any further with that explanation.
So that's good and all. Adding on to that is that a split pusher should only split push when they have teleport up, basically.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to get back into a fight by matching another person who's, say, 1v1ing, and you guys are fighting in front of the Baron, then he could TP into Baron Pit to help you fight to turn that situation into a 5v4. That's why if you're trying to split push, that's what you should look to do. Although that probably won't happen when you're a support.
Right, take teleport as support.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there another macro point that you know, or like you don't know how to approach it?
Let me see here. And that's like, say, like we have one inhibitor down, and we get Baron. Is it better to go like it's a bottom or top lane and go for another inhibitor since like say mid lane is the inhibitor down and it's pushing good by itself, or should you go mid with all the super minions with Baron and just try to like heavy pressure that and maybe go for the win?
Oh, you're saying you guys have the inhibitor.
Yeah, we
not
have
you're the inhibitor. Okay, so say your blue side and their middle one's gone.
Correct.
You're just taking her and you're backed. Okay.
We took out Baron. Is it like how would you play that one?
Is there anything more to do in mid lane?
Like correct. There's the only thing to do would be helping the wave of super minions push with a Baron buff.
Yeah.
And go for the Nexus.
Yep.
You say no? That's not.
It can be a viable option, but it's not the most efficient use of your Baron buff.
Alright.
What you should probably look, or what you can look to do, is pressure another lane and leave one person to kind of like slowly inch these minions forward. So, for example, if you were taking bot inhibitor, that they'd have to come 5v4 to fight you guys, but they would also lose this. They would also lose if you guys stall for this minion wave to push towards their nexus.
That makes sense. So it would still get the same thing done, but you would be pressuring 2 lanes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I guess that makes sense, because if you push up, they're just gonna 5-man protect the nexus, and you're wasting the Baron buff.
Exactly. And there's literally nothing here you can do against them just grouped under. It just increases the risk a lot more during the game from that. Yeah.
Just going for another.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remembered another macro concept, which is like vision control around objectives. So let's talk about that for a bit as well.
Alright.
You're on red side. You're looking to take Drake. Where are you warding?
For Drake.
From red side.
Usually I try to look like a minute or so before it spawns, is to get there and get vision control.
Perfect.
We're on red side.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely try to hit that bush.
Yep.
This bush is one. It just doesn't seem as good as like putting a ward, say, right here.
Mm-hmm. That's really good intuition on your behalf, because if you had a ward here and here, you actually miss the middle. It actually doesn't cover all of it.
One thing I like to do if I'm early enough is to put a ward here, and that will get your vision around here.
Right.
Did I do that when I hit? Okay, I didn't know I can exit out of that too. No.
That's fine.
So if I hit the undo, I can erase all my marks instead of trashing that map.
Yeah.
I'll live and learn. And the pixel bush would be one that I would ward to catch them. Like that time in that fight, and they just ran in Terra ult. And if I would have had that pixel, I probably would have been able to react in time to throw out the E and the ultimate.
Yep.
And either control warding the dragon pit or sweeping it at least, and so we can keep idea if they drop a ward in there.
That is perfect. Exactly what I wanted to cover. Control ward in the pit, just a donation. One more thing to add is, so you mentioned it's so you mentioned you do 60 seconds before an objective spawns. I'm gonna add 30 more seconds to that. 90 seconds before an objective spawns. You should look to ward an objective.
Okay, because wards last, what, 3 minutes? Is that right?
Yeah, so you'll get a lot more usage out of them. So when an objective spawns, 90 seconds before, ward it back. Now you have a fresh set of wards. Look to fight.
I like that. That's good.
And that's just, yeah.
I do seem to run into like the opposing support a lot of times, like doing a minute before, like we both are running up to go forward and fight it out, and it ends weird.
And that's exactly right. That is the crucial time when you can look to have a pick on the opposing support. And that's how you can gain objective control. Because if their support's dead, they can't ward.
Correct.
And as Zyber, you have so much burst potential. Say you're versus like a Nami or a Lulu, they're dead. So yeah.
Yes, they're annoying in lane, but once we get mid and late game, it's kind of easy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're taking Drake. We're coming to blue side. What are we doing?
So we're on blue side this time, taking Drake. So that would be like warding here would be a big one. I try to ward this bush this season now that one's there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this bush is still a good one just to get vision, but
Yeah.
I guess that one on blue side is not as crucial because they're not coming in from that way.
Right. I'm
See,
gonna improve. Sorry, keep going.
oh yeah, I got one more. Is it would just be like right here to kind of get that vision. It would be on the opposite side of the wall and not in that bush to kind of get the vision of all those entrances there.
Perfect. One small minor adjustment is moving this word to just a bit up here.
Okay.
So it covers all three of these entrance points.
Yeah.
Because if it was here, you react a bit too late to where they're coming from.
That makes sense. I like that.
Another thing you can do is also pink this banana brush right here. Almost no one checks it, which is really bizarre.
I agree.
But what you can usually see is, if you're keeping map aware, is that junglers path from blue up that way. You can see them. If they path up top, they can see that way. And just no one clears it basically.
That's true.
And you get a lot of bang for your buck for 75 gold.
Yeah. I never really wore that one. That's a good idea.
And this ward is perfect as well. Love it there. 4 paths, all seen.
I agree. For the deep wards.
Yeah. Let's talk about Baron as well. Baron control is super difficult. But what you got for me? Say we're blue side.
Blue side, bearing control. Definitely be this bush here.
Mm-hmm.
Would give a lot of vision.
Yep.
This one will catch them also.
Yep.
If we're doing 90 seconds before, I do like to hit this bush to kind of catch them coming in. And this bush, I would say if it was 90 seconds before, I would ward the one next to red here, and I would ward this one, and then I would back, and then come back with fresh wards to hit the ones closer.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. And how about from the other side as well?
From the red side, since they're all coming from the blue side, it would be kind of like the opposite of what we were doing on Dragon, and it would be warding here.
Yeah.
Like you said, that was a good one to put a ward in.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a great one because they seem to like to camp out here waiting for, you can catch so many people out just in that bush. Since there's one, if there's one in this bush, then warding this bush instead of right here would be better, I would think.
Exactly. So you're just mirroring the same thing from when we were doing Drake from blue side?
For the most part, it would be.
Yeah.
Seem to be the best. I tried
So a little bit.
This bush, I guess that was the same as Drake. It's kind of just getting vision of all those areas.
Yeah. Small note, just to help with your warding. You can ward this location from over the wall, so you don't have to risk yourself. So you can like walk up from lane and just ward over the wall without having to like physically walk in this bush.
Okay. Are you warding the bush?
Just...
Are you warding
the jungle path, not the actual bush. Yeah. And one more thing is that after you sweep the entirety of the Baron Pit, placing control ward here is actually really good. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but what it prevents is enemies coming over from here, saying they're trying to ward over the wall like that.
Yeah.
It prevents their vision around this like crucial area where you want it to be clear, basically.
That makes sense, because there are a lot of wards that hit there that kind of...
Yeah, so they just deny vision, makes walking from like here to here just really dangerous for them. One more is you can do the same. If you're afraid of walking forward to check this brush, If you're afraid of walking all the way there, you can just stand here toward over here.
Yes.
Yeah. Here.
Catch
Yeah.
them, and that covers both the blue
Yeah.
bush and both of the.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the objective control. Is there any other points of thwarting that I want to cover with you? Deep boards. You mentioned deep boards. If you're in lane, if you're already it, perfect time to go deep board. If you know that the jungler's not there.
Correct, which is the hard part.
That's a big if. But yeah,
Something.
that's really it for warding.
I think it was a macro choice, but I've had a few ADCs and I've tried to figure it out to where we are, like, say we're blue side and we've pushed up them to their tower. The ADC wants to go take Scudler.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Kind of push back.
Mm-hmm. That's a perfectly valid point.
At first, I was very confused. It's like we're going to miss out minions, or we're going to miss some advantages on poke and stuff, and kind of denying minions. But it seems viable. It seems like that's a way to kind of get at them to push it back, and gain vision.
Wait, sorry, which side are we on right now?
Say we're on blue side, and we're pushed up to the red tower, or to their first tower there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I had trouble with that one game. It was just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why are you going? Scudler is going to take you forever. But I guess with my E, it helps get that Scudler quicker because I'm putting that crowd control on it.
Yeah.
It's taking extra damage.
That is, yeah. Scudler is just another thing to help your jungler make sure their jungler's not taking Drake.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like that's most of the things I have to say about warding. How would you feel about jumping into a live game?
Yeah, I feel like we can do it.
Yeah. Would you like to take a 5-minute break first? Get some.
That'd be great. I'm gonna grab a snack real quick and get some brain.
All right. Sure thing. Let me know when you're back.